Dr. Mac.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you today?
Oh, it's doing all right.
All right. I see you representing today. Shauna Clear.
Yeah. We got a game tonight, so I want to give a little plug. Coastal Carolina will be playing on ESPN, the main ESPN channel at 7:30, I think it is tonight. We'll be here in Conway, and so I'm covering the game. So I'll be jetting out here shortly to get to the stadium.
Okay, who you playing?
Playing Campbell University, FCS team, scrappy team. They had a good showing against Georgia Southern, who's been a tough team for us in the past. So they almost beat Georgia Southern on last week. So it should be a pretty good game tonight. But we have primetime ESPN main station tonight. They'll be in Conway.
All right, that's a big deal for Coastal. They're not strangers to the limelight.
No, we beat Kansas last week, University of Kansas in Lawrence, Kansas. So that's the second straight year that we beat them. So we will be playing tonight, and hopefully we can get the win tonight and keep things going.
So, of course, we want to thank everyone for joining us today on the Network Live. I'm April Garner, Network founder. And, of course, my partner in crime every Friday at 4 o'clock is Dr. Winston McIver, Jr. And as you can see, he actually wears a couple of different hats. And I'm sure these aren't all of the hats, but he's the owner of Walkamar Primary Care in Conway, South Carolina. And then also he is pretty much the medical doctor or the sports doctor for Coastal Carolina University. And so, yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on, but still finds time to give us our weekly COVID-19 updates. This is week 25. And then also today we're going to have just a little bit of information about prostate cancer. I believe we're going to just kind of touch upon that and what we now call a medical minute. So, Dr. Mac, and I also want to mention we have the special topic for today. We have some great guests who are joining us to talk about some wonderful programs that are designed to help some returning citizens to become more viable citizens in our communities. And they'll be joining us a little bit after Dr. Mac's Medical Minutes. But we have Lawrence Carpenter and Brandon Lowery of Inmates to Entrepreneurs joining us. And then we also have another special guest, Brother Edward McQueen from the Whittemore Community Magazine. He's kind of riding shotgun with us today. I'm sure he has a lot of great questions for our guests as well. So Dr. Mac, I know that you typically start us off with some numbers or stats on COVID before we go to the slides, but what do you want to do today?
Let's start off with the stats first, and then we'll segue over into the slides.
Sounds good.
So typically for people that are new to the show, we typically talk about things in terms of week to week, what's happened in the previous week. So in the last week in the world of COVID, the number of cases worldwide went from around 28.5 million to around 30.5 million. The number of deaths worldwide have gone from around 917,000 to around 954,000. In the United States, over the last week, the number of cases have gone from around 6.6 million cases to around 6.9 million. The number of deaths have gone from over 196,000 to right under 200,000 deaths. South Carolina specifically, the number of cases have gone from 126,000 to 135,000 in the last week. The number of deaths have gone from approximately 3,000 to around almost 3,200 deaths. Horry County still is fourth in total cases, active cases, and deaths out of the counties in South Carolina. Right now, the number of cases in South Carolina over the last week have gone from around 9,500 to around 9,800. The number of deaths have gone from 181 deaths to 184 deaths. South in Horry County, 181 deaths to 184. Georgetown County, the cases have raised about 26 cases to around 1,767 cases. The number of deaths in the last week in Georgetown has gone from 39 to 42. Marion County, the number of cases have gone from 749 to 797. And the number of deaths in the last week in Marion has gone from 18 to 22. Now, what I've done as I was trying to compile stats, graphs, to try to make things as simple as possible. So we can start with the first slide, April.
Okay.
Okay. The first slide, nationwide 7-day average. So graphs going from left to right, the average number of daily tests. As you see back in April, the number of tests really were rising up as more tests were being done. Then right around June, July, we started seeing the number of daily tests started going down. So the numbers of tests are going down. That does factor somewhat in the number of total cases that we're seeing. So that's why the numbers, are kind of hard to interpret right now, because we are not testing as many people as we were when we were going on the incline there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second slide, going left to right, looks at daily cases. And we see those numbers are coming down. However, at the very end of that graph, we see it starting to take a turn up. And we'll have to kind of see exactly what that means. We're not quite sure. In statistics with graphs and bars, you have to kind of follow it out to see what it actually means. But it does look like it's starting to take somewhat of a turn upward in the daily cases. Okay. So we got as high as almost, right around 70,000 cases. Now we're right around 40, but we were sliding down, but it does appear to go up.
Mm-hmm.
The third one going left to right are current hospitalizations. And it does appear to be a bimodal or a phasic peak there with the current hospitalization over the last 7 days that we're looking at. The numbers appear to be going down, but time will tell to see how those numbers actually sort out. But the big slide is the one to the far right, and that's the daily deaths in the United States. Kind of as a standard, it's been 1,000. We've been pretty much in the last 2 months, about 80% of that time has been averaging over 1,000. Right now, we've been falling under that. So it does appear the number of deaths appear to be dropping down. However, on the far right of that slide, we are starting to see a trend up. Again, we'll have to look at more time to see if those numbers continue to peak up.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to mention this worldwide, though. In Europe, they are starting to see an uptake in the number of cases that are being diagnosed with COVID-19. Europe, France, a lot of European countries are starting to see a number of cases starting to increase. So that's something that in the United States, we just need to be aware of, that, there are cases that are increasing in places that, have gotten hit initially, were hit harder, started doing more social distancing and masks. The numbers were going down. Is it because there's a second phase? Is it because people are getting more lax with what they're doing? Only time will tell that. But I just want these stats to be here so you can see it, the graphs, to see what these actually mean. Some of these numbers are starting to trend up. Whether that's going to be a continuation, again, only time will tell that.
And Dr. Mack, is it safe to say that even if we or start to, I guess, get into that season that we've always talked about, where we can expect that there should be some increases, we really won't know because of the diminished testing?
Right. We really won't know unless we test more. Mm-hmm. The other way we can tell is that the hospitalization rates go up.
That's right.
The death rates go up. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just not as much testing that's being done, comparatively speaking, to 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, 3 months ago even. Mm-hmm. And we can see the number on the far left graph, where the numbers were really going upwards in the number of tests, and we were raising exponentially week to week. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of leveled off, as you see, and even starting to go down some.
Right.
I'm sorry, go down, and it's kind of coming up a little bit. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what that looks like. But it's been a couple of weeks since we really had some graphs, and I just want to try to find a reliable source that I felt comfortable with before presenting these graphs. I do feel comfortable with what this is saying. It does appear to jive with what most physicians are feeling. But again, that story is still to be determined in time. Okay. The next graphs are similar to this one, but it's talking specifically about South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So what we're seeing, going left to right, we're seeing that at, between July, end of June, July, we can see that the number of daily tests were going way up. We were doing a bunch of tests, right? And then we see right after August 1st, what happened? The number of tests started going down. So as I was telling you before, we're just not doing as many tests.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, we just need to keep an eye on this and understand that the numbers that are given are numbers based off of positive tests, okay? Or testing being done, period,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of cases. The second slide going left to right, daily cases. We see that, those numbers were going down, but now what's happened? Those graphs to the far right of that second graph are starting to go back up. So we are starting to see more cases. And as a matter of fact, the CDC did release 7 states that were that needed to be really checked for cases of COVID, and South Carolina was actually number 1 with states that needed to really be followed because there were some trends that were being seen, and the concern was that those places, may be having more of an increase. Okay, there were actually 7 states that were listed on that report that was given by the data from Johns Hopkins University, and South Carolina was actually number 1. Arkansas was number 2. Nebraska 3, Oklahoma 4, Wisconsin 5, North Dakota 6, and Missouri 7. So just to be aware, I know a lot of data is being given, but this is objective data that are showing number of rising new corona cases. And so that's what that second graph is showing, that line has shot up.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is in the last 7 days, that line is shot up, which means the daily case amounts are going up. Now, this is what we kind of expected. What's happened? We just had to end the summer. We just had to end the beach season. Right. South Carolina is a very highly traveled state, particularly during the summer months, particularly at the end of summer.
Tourist area, transient.
Mm-hmm. Right. These numbers aren't surprising that's happening. But again, we just have to be on the lookout for that. Hospitalization rates, it does appear to be dropping down in South Carolina, which is a good thing. Compared to around the end of July when the numbers were super high with hospitalizations. Still, the hospitals are still having, amended or bridge visitation. They're still having times where you're not able to come as freely as you were coming before.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, the far right slide looks at daily deaths. Okay, we did see around the end of July where the death rate was really high. It started coming down, but look at the far right of that graph. It's starting to look like that line is trending upward. And that's the reason why South Carolina made this list for states to be on the lookout for, because those graphs appear to be going up. Again, we won't know for sure until more time goes by. Mm-hmm. But again, just trends, South Carolina has been identified as a state where, there may be some increased activity there.
Mm-hmm. And as I said before, I think it's still interesting that we're still number 4, even though the testing is not as robust as it used to be. So that says a lot to me. That's telltale.
Well, that's number 4 in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. But again, that's across the board, though. With counties all over, the testing amount has gone down, comparatively speaking.
Right. Okay.
Right.
All right.
But again, the daily deaths, the daily cases, those 2 graphs on here, the second one and the fourth one going left to right, that has to be followed. It has to be watched because we're heading into cold, flu, pneumonia, strep season. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a problem if people still don't practice social physical distancing and still, for God's sakes, wear these masks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Good. Well, Dr. Mack, that of course is some great information as always. Our COVID updates, trusted and respected source, Dr. McIver, and I know that you want to touch upon the prostate cancer as our new medical minute, and right. We'll what we will do is just kind of he'll talk for a few minutes about some issues that we need to bring to the forefront, and then of course as the demand occurs. For more information, we can create, much longer shows out of it. But this is just information that we want to kind of put in your hearing so that you'll understand the importance of what you need to do for certain cases. So Dr. Mack, what do you want us to know about prostate cancer? I think he froze. I believe his feed is frozen. Okay, I'm going to remove him and come back. So we'll wait for Dr. Mack's feed to kind of reestablish itself. And I think he's ready now. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's froze. Okay.
Yeah. So what'll happen is, in addition to just giving a little bit on COVID, April and I talked, and I felt like it would be good to kind of have a little medical minute where we'll just talk about some medically related topic. Again, what I'm giving you is an amended version. We could talk all day about prostate cancer. I can talk all day about this stuff, but we're gonna summarize it real briefly. So what happens is prostate cancer the prostate gland is a gland that's in the body. It's a male reproductive organ that has to do with helping men be able to reproduce. Again, the prostate gland is about the size of a walnut, but as we get older in men, and only men have prostates, by the way. Mm-hmm. So as we get older, the prostate gland will enlarge physiologically. That's just normal development of a man. Sometimes the prostate gland can enlarge to the point where men are having to go to the bathroom multiple times because they're not able to completely empty their bladder. But over time, that can become an issue, which I see patients for that as well, and we treat them appropriately for the situation. But specifically about prostate cancer, there are different lobes of the prostate gland, and any of those lobes can be susceptible to what we call adenocarcinoma, or cancer of the gland. We typically start checking men for prostate at the age of 50. However, I've been checking them earlier than that. Now, some of the insurances will not cover PSAs, which is the blood test that we use to look at the rise of it, of the level, until after the age of 50. But I usually recommend men at the age of 40 start getting that checked. Okay. Now, it's a couple ways we look at prostate, the PSA level. Number one, it's important to get it checked every year. So there's an absolute number, which means what is that number right at the time that we check it. Okay. And that number should be less than 4. Now, we also look at something called the PSA velocity, which means how high the prostate level rises from year to year. Anything higher than 1, the number 1 is significant for further evaluation. It could just be inflammation in the prostate, infection, which we need antibiotics, or it could potentially be prostate cancer. But that's why it's important to get that level checked every year to see what the actual number is and how high it rises from one year to the next, which is called the PSA velocity. Now, prostate cancer occurs in about 106 men. Out of every 100,000 men, about 106 will have prostate cancer. Okay. In white males, it's about 96 out of 100,000. African-American males, it's about 163 per 100,000 prostate cancer. Now, the average, and we'll talk about that in just a second, the average age of prostate cancer is between 60 and 84, with most men being between 60 and 69. That's the highest age range. But 55 to 60 is second in age. Now, although the prostate cancer numbers have been decreasing since 2008, the numbers have been decreasing. It's still a major issue in African-American males, as I said before. Again, statistically, about 164 out of 100,000 in African-American men, whereas in white males, it's about 97 out of 100,000. Now, why is that? Part of it is because we're not going to the doctor getting checked as frequently as we should. Some people they're just saying, Doc, you're my guy, I got you, but I got an issue with getting my prostate checked. And I said, well, you got a couple options. You can either roll the dice, or you and end up with prostate cancer, which can be in a lot of cases 100% treatable if caught early enough. It typically is a slow growing cancer. Okay. The 5-year survival rate is about 98% in white males, 95% in African-American males, and 94% in other males, other races, ethnicities. However, you have to check it so that way you can stay ahead of it. The worst thing ever is, one of the worst things ever is to tell somebody you got stage 3, stage 4 prostate cancer, and you say, when's the last time you had your prostate cancer, prostate level checked? And it's, oh, doc, I never had it checked. So again, these are things that are part of taking care of yourself, a part of, responsibility to yourself, to your family, children, to make sure that you're getting these levels checked. It does have a hereditary component to it. So if you do have a family history of prostate cancer, you definitely need to make sure that you're getting your levels checked as close to 40 as possible. And even if the insurance doesn't cover it. I mean, I'm 51 right now, and I think the last, I think I was 48 and 49 years old, and I got mine checked, and the insurance did not cover it. But again, that expense is well worth it. Believe me. Okay. You're muted.
Great information. I always forget. Great information. And I was looking at the men backstage, and everybody's like this, I'm taking in that information.
It's significant. It's significant.
Yeah, y'all need to check things out. Check it out.
Yeah. Again, let me say this one more time. Prostate cancer, out of 100,000 white males, 96.7% will have it. Not 96.7 out of 100,000. In African American males, it's 164 per 100,000. So it's a significant difference there. And again, part of it is, that we're not getting checked as often. There's a lot of, there's a whole, we can have a whole week's worth of shows on prostate cancer. Okay. So I'm just kind of giving you the nuts and bolts of it. It's important to make sure that that's checked. It's important to talk to your physician about it, because it's very important, and it can be the difference between life and death.
Well, again, thank you so much, Dr. Mack, for all of these updates, the COVID-19 update, and then also this new medical minute on prostate cancer. And, we'll see what we have next week, put it out on the promo. But I know that you're going to sit tight with us for as long as you can before you have to head over to the field. And so what I'm going to do is just play a little quick commercial, and I'll bring on our slate of guests. Yeah, you want to say something?
I think there was one question on here. I want to try to address that before I leave.
Okay, let's give you a thread. Okay.
Yeah, it's how do you feel about the kids going back to school in the school buildings? That's a good question. Ms. Van asked that question. Van, that's a good question, and I struggle with that. In all candor, my kids have gone back. But again, I've had long, hard talks with my kids about what to do and what not to do, and I think they get it. Again, they are in the 11th and 12th grade, so it's a little bit different from talking about elementary age kids. I'm sure the schools are doing the best they can do to keep those schools clean. I'm sure of that. I feel confident in saying that. But again, you just have to kind of weigh the pros and cons and the risks, the benefits. If you've got somebody that's in the house that's old, that's elderly, that has medical conditions, and you have kids that are around them a lot, then you may have to think about it. I've got several patients on hospice who have kids that live in the house, and after having a discussion with them, it was determined that their kids should not go back because they bring COVID back into the house with somebody that has a terminal illness or has cancer, then that could be fatal.
Yes.
Well, again, that's a good question, Van. I wish I could answer it better than what I just answered it. I think it's on an individual basis. My kids, by the mere fact of them going to a specialty high school, the things that they have to get in that STEM program, they can't get it all virtual.
Exactly.
So my situation was a little bit different from most. You're not old, Van. We were in school together, and I'm a baby. So it's an individual thing, and you have to kind of just weigh what's going on in your household, in your surroundings to see, if that is worth them taking that risk. Unfortunately, COVID is still here. Unfortunately, we don't know the actual numbers because there's not as much testing that's being done. But again, you still have to approach people as if they're positive, and if they come around you without a mask on, they're disrespecting you.
That's true. Yeah, okay. And we've said that time and time again. So, and just instill in your children as much as possible that they have to look out for themselves, and looking out for themselves, they're also looking out for others. So, when you send them out with their lunches and everything, just send them out with that good word about wearing the mask, washing their hands, and social distancing as much as possible. And we can only pray for the best. So, I have heard back from the school district about appearing on our show. And so I'm going to connect with them again and come up with some talking points. And I just encourage anyone who has questions to go ahead and start fielding those questions to me, and so that I can create some talking points so that they'll know what the concerns are. And then we'll work on that in the next couple of weeks. So Dr. Mack, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And another plug. Please tune in to ESPN tonight to support our Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, support the home team. We're on prime time, ESPN.
What time?
7:30.
7:30. All right.
7:30. Mm-hmm.
All right. Go Teal Nation. And there you go. All right, Doc. All right. So we're going to take a really quick break, and then we'll be right back.
Your child deserves the best in life. Grow through learning and positive moments. Caring through love, nurturing, and support. Security in a clean, safe environment. Your child deserves your neighborhood child care and development center. 1100 Creel Street, Conway, South Carolina. ABC certified and USAID approved. Call 843-248-0560 or 843-248-3584 for enrollment information.
Your neighborhood child care and development center is open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, enrolling children ages 6 weeks to 12 years old, serving Conway and all surrounding communities, offering after-school care with a professional, ethnically diverse staff. Your neighborhood child care and development center. Call today. All right, and we are back. Thank you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. At the top of the show, we had Dr. Winston Mclver Jr. of Welcome Our Primary Care giving us the COVID-19 updates, week 25. We're deep in this, 6 months in, I guess. And, of course, we appreciate the information that he pulls together every single week, and the discussions and that we have about it, and also your comments and questions. And we want you to keep them coming. Typically, Dr. Mack sticks around if we have a special guest to answer questions, but the Chanticleers are playing tonight, so he might have to skip out. But if you have any questions, please leave them on any of our social media threads or on our YouTube thread, and he typically goes around and he'll answer those questions even after the broadcast is over. So I want to introduce to all of you our special guests, and just before I do that, I would if I don't mention the destination that is connected to us, it will be an injustice. And I just want to thank the Emmanuel Nye Memorial Foundation for being a part of this broadcast. They are one of our destinations each week. And would like to thank Jamila and Kimberly for allowing us to broadcast on their Facebook page as well, and to Charleston, South Carolina. So thank you much. And we do appreciate it. And of course, if you have any questions, please post them, and we will definitely get to those questions as well. So again, we are having a discussion today with two representatives from an organization and I guess a series of programs that they're doing some tremendous things to impact the lives of formerly incarcerated individuals, and also as a part of a foundation doing a lot of great work to make sure that there's a decrease in the recidivism rate that a lot of states actually are, tracking when it comes down to formerly incarcerated individuals. And so we have with us Brandon Lowery and Lawrence Carpenter of Inmates to Entrepreneurs. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Yeah, how you doing today?
All right.
All right, awesome. And we're going to hear some great information from them about these wonderful programs, and in particularly this particular program that they're a part of. And then also joining me is the host of the Whittemore Community Magazine that airs every Monday at 7 p.m. Brother Edward McQueen. How are you doing? All right. And
I'm
so,
fine. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you doing?
I'm good, Brother Edward. All right. So I'm typically his co-host on Mondays. And so he's kind of, I guess we're flipping the script this time around. So thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure you have a lot of great questions for them. But I kind of wanted to build a little backstory, or at least some context for why we're talking about this today. And one of the things that I think is important for people to understand is, what exactly is recidivism, and, a definition that's kind of tied to that. And so for most people who may not have heard that term before, maybe you've heard it in more layman's terms, it basically is the tendency for someone to repeat an offense and then receive punishment or serve a sentence and, go back into the system for a particular crime. And so, to my understanding, and based upon the research that I did, that typically happens whenever you have people who were formerly incarcerated and then they return to society and they have not been given the resources, the skills that they need. Maybe there's a lack of focus or motivation to move forward and chart a new life. Maybe they just need something that is going to help them and support them if they have any instances that require maybe rehabilitative support and things of that nature. And so when those types of things are not in place, we have what's called recidivism. And so the idea is to make sure that decreases in terms of these citizens returning to our populations, to our communities. In other words, once they're here, we want them to be viable, productive citizens in our communities. We definitely don't want them to go back into the system, and I'm sure that they don't want to as well. But everybody needs support. That's what having a second chance and a new start is all about. So, what do we know about the profile of the U.S. prison? Well, basically, in the U.S., we are 5% of the world's population, but we're 25%. We have 25% of the world's prisoners. And when you put that into context, as far as thinking about the world, it says a lot that we have a quarter of the world's prisoners in our U.S. jails and prisons. And so, the thing that we need to think about is what's causing that, what makes that happen? What are some things that we can do to make sure that those numbers actually start to decline? Because we definitely don't want that to be one of the things that we're known for, but obviously it's happening over and over again. The other thing that people tend to talk about is the cost to incarcerate an individual. And what we know is that, there is an average per inmate cost of incarceration in the U.S. of a little over $31,000 a year. And if you think about that, Brandon's already shaking his head. If you're thinking about that, there are some people who work all year and that's all they make is $31,000 before taxes. And so imagine the money that you amass, working all year, and then put that into context as far as that cost being attributed to, the care for an inmate who is in the system. That's a lot of money when you think about that stat that I just gave you. Right. That you know what I'm saying. So that's another thing that we need to really kind of put into our minds and try to filter through.
Right.
So the reason why I invited Brandon and Lawrence to be a part of the show is because, there's so many different community organizations and communities that are having this conversation because we realize that it is an issue. And the only way that we can combat the issue is to, of course, educate ourselves on why it's an issue and then try to find some solutions so that we can make sure that, we have the right solutions in place, or that we are doing something to alleviate or obliterate this entire idea of recidivism. It probably will never go away, but I know that there are strides that are being made. And of course, Inmate to Entrepreneurs is one of those things that makes sense. And of course, it makes sense for the Network Live to have you both as our special guests, because this is a business connector. And we want people to understand that, they can be hopeful as they're returning to society, and that there are ways to do it, to prepare for that, even, probably before they come back, but also after they get back, there is a support system. So what I want to start with, of course, is just kind of talking a little bit about, both of our special guests today. And I'm going to start with the chairman of the board, Lawrence. I'm going to start with you. Okay. So, yeah. So thank you for being here. Now, they gave me your bio and wanted me to read it, but I typically don't read bios. I usually ask my guests to kind of, to describe themselves or whatever. But, I will say this just to kind of give you a little push, that he is the chairman of the board of Inmates to Entrepreneurs, and has been both an instructor and a speaker with the organization since 2009. So Lawrence, tell us more about who you are.
Yeah, I'm Lawrence Carpenter. I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. Grew up poor. Like a lot of other young men in Afro-American community, made poor decisions. Chose to start selling drugs at the age of 12, ended up incarcerated at the age of 17, went to prison for 6 years, came home, thought I could sell drugs better. So I continued again and found myself incarcerated again. At that time, I realized I really had an entrepreneur heart, but I was in the wrong game, and I was trying to I was going about it the wrong way. Upon my release, I knew I didn't want to live in poverty for the rest of my life, because I made bad choices and made bad decisions. And I knew my only way of not doing that is through entrepreneurship. So I chose to start a janitorial service 19 years ago, built a business where we have contracts in 3 different states, all over the North Carolina as well. And I also am the owner of ZBS Trucking. I'm a proud father of 4 kids, and my girls and my son, they're really pretty much like my push for all that I do in building business.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, that's a great profile. Especially considering where you were and now where you are, so it's definitely a success story. And then Brandon Lowery, he is the director, one of the board of directors. Is that correct? Am I saying it correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
A member of the board, yes.
All right. So Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You're now a full-time self-employed entrepreneur as well.
Yes. Just like Lawrence has said, man, I just started off on a bad foot. So I was kind of straddling the fence. So I was like half in the streets and then half regular. Made a couple bad choices, wound up going to prison for 5 years. And in that time of going to prison, I knew I had to do something different. So I started making a change while I was in prison. So when I got home, I tried to keep that positive mentality together. So I started a landscaping business in 2012. Then I got the entrepreneurship bug, like most people do, and I started a mobile detailing company. And then I just started a clothing wear company, Lowery Wear Productions. So I feel like keeping myself busy, doing positive things. And just like Lawrence said, my family, I have a daughter, I have 3 daughters and a son, and my wife. So they kind of my motivation, my why, trying to show them how entrepreneurship is the way to go, because you can make your own choices. You can kind of really pave your own path. You don't have anybody else dictating which way you can go and how far you can go. So I like that about entrepreneurship, having the control over my destiny. So that's a little bit what I would do.
Yeah. And, and what you said at the end, having control over your destiny, that's really what all of this is all about. It's about the choices. It's about, once we know the mistakes that we made and the impact of those mistakes, making that decision, that intentional decision to, do something better with your life and to just, try not to go down that road again. And both of you have obviously done that. And now you're pouring back into society by showing others how to do it. And I think that is, admirable. It's a wonderful thing. So, I threw out some statistics a few moments ago. And, one other stat that I want to make note of is that according to the National Institute of Justice, almost 44% of criminals return before the end of their first year out of prison. Right. And that's a pretty profound number, because if you think about it, 44% is not far from half of the people who are released are going to go back. And so what do you think are some of the reasons why that occurs?
Okay.
I'll take that one, Lawrence.
Okay.
Me, honestly, I feel like there's the confidence level of people getting out of prison is very low, because a lot of people are scared to check that box. Right. You know what I'm saying? That was another good reason why I started my own business. And once I started and I seen how easy it was to start one, and like I still, since 2012, I haven't had a customer or a business ask me if I've been incarcerated. I'm not ashamed to tell them, right, because the person that they see now is 10 times way different than the person I was before when I made that mistake in my life. But that's one of the reasons, as far as checking the box. And just like I said in my introduction, I started to change in prison. So prison is its own population, just like you were saying about having support for the people once they come back into civilization. They're leaving a whole nother population that they can start that change in. And that's what I put into a lot of people when we go back into the prisons, is to start in here. Because you're in your own little community. So if you can do it, and if you can walk a positive line in here, it'll be 10 times easier to walk it out there. So that was one thing that I tell a lot of people, is to stay active in positive things, like not 99% positive, a whole 100% positive, because that 1% can drag you down. So that's one thing that I think, if we can build the confidence in people and show them that it's really easy to do something other than what they were doing. Because like Lawrence said, he went to prison the first time, and then he thought when he got out that he could do it better than he did before. Right. So if you can show them you can still make good money, you can still be successful doing something way left field, and teaching a little bit earlier to our children. Like I teach my children about business now. Like my son, my daughter, my 12-year-old, she just started her own business, like registered LLC and everything.
That's right.
Certain people don't know that they can do that young. She's 12 and she has her own business accounts and everything. So that's what I'm that's another thing that we need to start doing, is teaching them about business early.
And I'm sorry, Mr. McQueen.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead. I wanted to just throw a comment in there, but you go ahead. My comment may be based on what you say also.
Oh no, and I was agreeing. Like Brandon said, I am a victim of recidivism. I went in twice, and a lot of that comes from the lack of hope. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to make certain decisions, like entrepreneurship, based off of not knowing which way to go, right? And a lot of people don't know where to start from. Like I tell people all the time when I'm out speaking, or when I conversate with people like judges and lawyers and things like that, I always explain to them is that people that's incarcerated are not bad people. Sometimes they just don't know where to start.
Right.
So I think the lack of hope of not having knowledge of what they want to get into first, and that right there kill any person that want to start a business hope.
That's true.
If you don't know, if you don't have an understanding of what you're getting into, you don't have the knowledge of the business that you're trying to start and create, right there, that leads to lack of confidence. In return, it's hard to build a business because you're not aware of what you're selling. You don't have the confidence in what you're presenting and what you're trying to sell to the people, right? So a lot of people fail with the lack of hope, a lack of trust in believing in the system, a lot of And honestly, a lot of people don't deal with themselves. Like Brandon started with dealing with himself inside of prison. A lot of people get out with the same attitude, the same mentality, and then think they're going to get a different result. If you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got. So at the end of the day, a lot of guys are not willing to come out and change who they are. So those two things, I think the lack of hope and the unwillingness to change is a hindrance from the beginning. From prison.
I was about to say something a few minutes ago, but I just want to start by congratulating both of you gentlemen first. Okay, really, again, because and further congratulating April for finding such resources to be role models.
Most definitely.
Okay, you're the greatest role models around now.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you're really in position of being great role models. So you're the best. Okay. But I wanted to say that how did you feel about failure? Okay, there's an old saying that say you don't be afraid to fail.
Right.
I know coming out of prison, you brothers, I don't know how long you stayed in there, but you had to have that attitude of don't be afraid to fail. Right.
And I was just talking to someone earlier today, and the crazy thing was they were having a hard time where they were looking for a promotion at their job and all that, and they were having a hard time. And I was thinking, and I was like, a lot of entrepreneurship and a lot of businesses is birthed out of desperation. And for me, I had no choice to fail because I had no other options. So it was either I was going to keep
the best position.
That's right. By any means necessary.
Right. I want to figure this thing out and try to live a better life. So, out of that desperation right there, and out of what I was facing was I had a family to raise, I had a family to take care of,
family to feed.
Right. I always took pride in being a great provider. So I just was like, hey, I gotta roll up my sleeves, and I gotta just keep going, and I gotta keep pushing because. And even when I hire people, and I always tell people all the time when I hire guys that's convicted felons, I tell them right then, I say, look, I'm gonna be a little bit tougher on you than I would a person that worked for me part-time, they got a job at Duke, they got options. Because at the end of the day, without your options, you need to take advantage of every opportunity that you have presented before you. So for me, I want to be a little bit less lenient than a person who don't need me.
Right.
And it's part of a teaching tool of, hey, look, take advantage of your opportunities. So for me, it's just, I don't try to sound like I done did some dookie magical thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just work hard.
Yeah, we understand. We're with you. We're with you.
Right. I just work hard, and and I just had no other choices. And I knew I wasn't gonna sell drugs again.
Right. And I think that's the important part as far as what you just said. You worked hard. You had to make it up in your mind that it was going to take some hard work to do what you needed to do to make sure that you, did not return to the system, leave your family anymore. So that goes into one of those, those bullet points in the research that I saw that talks about, what can be done to decrease the recidivism. And it was all about assessing the individual motivators, and your motivation was your family. Your motivation was, being the man that you could be, for your family. So, that's incredible. It really is. There's some comments and questions that I want to just kind of throw at you guys. And one of the questions comes from one of our loyal viewers, and also the mother of the doctor who was just here, Dr. McIver. Is Margie McIver asked, what are some of the challenges either of you face as you interact with the community at large, especially your old friends? Yeah, coming back. How did you?
Let me take this one, Lawrence.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Good question.
There, and I say this all the time. I cut off family, friends. Like I set myself and my family on an island, and I just worked hard. So just like I was getting back to the 99% positive and the 1%. That 1% is the old people that you hang around. That one thing that you try to keep your foot still in the streets just so you can have I guess a reputation or a name that, oh yeah, he came back, but yeah, he's still cool. No, I stopped smoking. I don't drink.
Right.
I stopped, you know what I'm saying? Anything that was negative that I ever did when I was younger, I don't do it anymore. Like people see me now and they tell my wife all the time, you got the good side of Brandon. Like, because he was totally nowhere near the person that I am now. And I'm happy for people to say that, because that's the only way you can really make a change is if you cut time. I mean, fam, I don't mess with nothing. If it ain't positive or if it ain't about business, I ain't doing it. And that's just it's as simple as that. I don't have no ties and none of that. And I see people that do that are the people that don't go back to prison because they don't try to still be cool with the people that they used to.
Right.
I say, hey, I'm not disrespectful.
Right.
I might sit and talk to you for about 2-3 minutes at the gas station as we pass, and then I'm keeping it moving. You know what I'm saying? I'm on back on to what I was doing. And I stay busy on nothing but positive stuff, either working on my family, my kids, or my business. If I ain't checking none of those boxes, I ain't got nothing for it.
I know that's right.
And that was one of the easiest things to do. Like for me, that was easy. Like, because at the end of the day, when you start looking at things and you start looking at things logically, I had to look at it like, can my friends pay my bills? No. My friends with me
It's a very real question.
When I was doing them same bills, who was with me? Nobody, my family. So I need to keep it real with the people who was real with me. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like so easy. And then I never forget, my mom, she went through incarceration and drug abuse and all those things as well. And I can remember having a discussion with her one time. And I can remember her saying, and I remember asking her, like, well, why you not with your boyfriend anymore? He stuck it with you when you went through your rehab and your recovery and all that. And all of a sudden, you seem like it just, I thought you wasn't keeping it on real with the person, right? And I remember her saying a thing to me, and she was saying, dealing with him, either one or two things going to happen. Either I'm going to uplift him and bring him with me on my journey, or either he's going to drag me down and take me back to where I was, which was getting high. And she said, most of the time, the evil outweigh the good. So I just didn't want to take that risk on like going backwards or going in reverse. So I kind of held that dear to my heart and was like, hey, now I deal with people now, like from my past now, because I'm strong now.
Right.
When I was weak, I couldn't do it.
That's right.
Like, but now I'm strong enough to say, hey, you guys gonna start doing that? Okay, nice seeing you today. Stop me to go this way. Where I was too afraid of myself at the beginning, because you got to realize from the age of 12 all the way until I started my business, I always lived off of selling drugs. The only way I had food on my table, selling drugs. The only way I had clothes on my back, selling drugs. The only way I had a car to drive, sell drugs. So I was too tender, and I was too vulnerable at the beginning to allow outside people into my circle. Because I just didn't trust my decision making at that time. Right.
It's so profound what you just said, Lawrence, because and even Brandon, the fact that you really do have to change your entire environment in order to survive. You cannot go back to, even if they are the best friends you have ever had, if they are about that life that you're trying to get away from, it's not going to do you any good to go back to that. You just, you have to love them from a distance, basically. And if they're real friends, they will understand, they'll support you in whatever it is that you're trying to do to better yourself. And then you talked about, the strength of person. I think that is, it's remarkably transparent, because a lot of times that's the reason why people continue to make the same mistakes over and over again. They don't have that love of self, that self-love and that strength from within. They don't have even a spiritual connection to anything or whatever. And you do have to really be real about that inventory of self and want to take the inventory of self in order to change. You can't change if you're not going to be real about what you need to change. Say that again, Lawrence.
I tell people all the time, you got to look at you in the mirror. You by yourself, you can't lie to yourself. So you got to be accountable to yourself.
That's right.
Brother Brandon, it's good to see that you don't have a MAGA hat on, but I still like that hat, man.
I love the hat. I love
Yeah.
that. And he
Yeah.
has he's repping his company. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. You know, sometimes that says a lot about a person. Okay.
Right.
And that just, I think, to me, the implications are that, you know, you're a proud owner of something and you want somebody else to be a part of that in a way, in a special way, you know, because we all need each other. If you're going to own something, you got a business, you know, and so that's also good PR. Okay, so but, so get smart on your behalf.
Very
Okay,
smart, right?
yeah, smart on your behalf. So keep up with that, man.
I wish I'd have worn one of my company shirts now.
You should have, Lawrence. If you're at home, look, we might
I don't know why.
I've been at home cleaning up all day. I had to rush.
Well, look, I can say to April, April, I think this is worth of them coming back on the show again at some time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because of what they are offering. I mean, they're role models. You really are.
Mhm.
Okay, you really are role models.
You really are.
Yeah, just hope you can continue on with that. You know, yeah. So let me ask brother Lawrence St. Brand, unless it's classified, what kind of time did you serve, and when you were I'm asking that not just to be nosy, but I'm asking that because I'm trying to calculate what you were thinking, how much time it gave you to come to the conclusion that you need to be an entrepreneur.
Good question. Let me go back. My first time I just turned 17. I went to prison. I went for 6 years for selling drugs, and then I had like a robbery charge as well.
Right.
When I went to prison at that time, I went in with the attitude of a young man. I went into prison. I'm fighting. I'm doing everything I'm doing in the street. I'm sneaking drugs in, and then I ran the prison store. So I was running all kinds of scams and all kinds of crazy stuff to make sure that I took care of myself while I was in prison, right? So I did this 6 years. I looked at it like I was at summer camp, right? So I come home with the mentality of, all right, I got a criminal record. No one is going to hire me. Before I even left the prison doors, I knew I was selling drugs again, okay? I just thought in my mind, now I'm in my early 20s. I'm in my mind like, okay, I want to sell drugs on a bigger scale. I want to make more money. On the saving, I'm just going to do it different this time, right? Which I did, no doubt. I came out, sold drugs. I was very successful at it. I had a good 7-year run where I made a lot of money. I got a chance to travel. I got a chance to like have a nice car, nice house, all that good stuff. And all of a sudden now I'm in prison again. Now this time I'm married. I just got married. My oldest daughter, I just took the responsibility of being her father. And at this time, I only had 11 months. Those 11 months almost killed me. And the reason why was I had an opportunity to see life different now. You know, I'm a little older now. I'm starting to grow into like the man I want to be. So, I chose to get married, and, I want to have kids now. I had a little money saved. So at that time, I was like, to me, I was more embarrassed that I was back. You know, it was almost like, man, I'm here again. You know, I got 11 months. I really don't even want people to know I'm gone. Right.
Right.
I just try to keep it so quiet. Like, okay, I'm gone. You know, I knew it was a purpose behind it because all of my other friends that we were doing the same things, we was in the same places, was going on the same trips. The feds was picking them up. They was getting 19 years. They was getting to 12, 11 years, and for me, I was able to lead the job. Like I was able to lead the streets like clean. Like I didn't have to snitch on nobody to leave. I had, I was able to keep my integrity, right? So I came back and I said, okay, I need to start building this business. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was praying. I was asking God, what you want me to do? What you want me to do? He told me about 3 times to start a janitorial service. But I had a little money. I had a little drug money to save. So I was like, no, let me get a daycare. I want to do something I can't get my hands dirty, right? And then I remember, I never forget that Christmas. Christmas that came around, I just got through buying gifts for everyone and stuff like that. And I started looking at the money I had, and I was like, the money's starting to dwindle. If you're not making money go out the door quick.
That's right.
So my heart, and I could feel myself. I could feel my urgency and my desperation coming again. And I started feeling the urge to sell drugs again. And I said, you want to know something? I said, I'm not doing that again. I made that promise to God. So I got to figure this out. So after the Christmas holidays was over, that first week of January, I went out. I got my business started, got my business license, and then I just like pushing the business. So so I always say I just had two different versions of prison life. I had the young Lawrence to go to prison and have fun and just wild out and do whatever I want to do, and then I had the second prison stint where I was like, man, ain't no anywhere. I just didn't want to talk. Yeah. So I was in the prison camp, and it was like everybody in the prison camp I went to was making me like a living legend. Oh yeah, he was getting money out there. So, and my whole thing was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I was reading my Bible, and I was trying to focus on business. So when I got home, I wouldn't come back. So.
So brother Lawrence, I'm going to be a reporter for. I want to ask these tough questions, man. And if you feel it's classified, then
get to it, brother. Get to it.
Okay. That's good. Okay. When you got it, you said you were making good drug money.
Right.
What did you consider? What did you measure as good money?
So when I came home from prison the second time, I had like almost 800 grand saved. 800,000.
800,000.
Yeah. And the crazy, this is crazy. Let me tell you something. This is crazy.
Brother, I
got my brother on it up there.
Look, I ain't stopped selling dope because I was bad at it. I stopped selling dope because I was tired of it.
He was tired of it.
I was stressed out. I was tired of it.
Yeah.
So for me, this is the crazy. Let me tell you about my business. This is the crazy thing. This is how perfect God is. So it took me about 7 or 8 months before I got my first contract. Right, I started building it. Now I took $400 drug money. Yeah, $400 drug money to start my business. $400. Okay, so the feds the IRS want to come get me about that. Cool, it's whatever. I had $400, right? But by the time I got my first contract, I was broke. I was broke. I had went through all those months. I think the beauty of it was I didn't have the stress of like my family being homeless and stuff like that while I was getting a chance to like market and things like that and try to build a business up. But by the time I got my first contract, I was broke. In the next 4 years, I was broke. It was just like it was just like almost like I can remember days so I had a choice to pay my mortgage or pay my employees. And I said, I'm gonna pay these employees because next month I can't do I can't expect anything going on, So I don't want to eat up the time from Brandon.
No. You're fine. We can talk as long as we want.
Good.
What I was going to say, based upon what you just said, those were the steps you were supposed to go through that.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be sweet. Yeah.
And I think it was a purging. I think it was a purging situation. I feel like it was a situation where I had sold drugs, and when I was selling drugs, I thought I was making stuff happen. I was going through a situation where I thought I was the man. I can get whatever I want to get. I can do whatever I want to do. Me, right? And then I felt like God chopped me all the way down to I got my hand inside the toilet trying to build a business, and I call it the looking up at the curb moment. Like when you so far down, when you ain't got nowhere to look up, and the only thing you can see when you're looking up is the curb, right? And I went through those. I think I never forget when after 4 years of building the business, I think it was going into. I remember my first year, my second year, I made money, and I went back and I sat down on my account and I said, let's go back through the year. Because I'm doing these taxes and I got like 200. I made $200-something thousand. I don't have no money in the bank, and the only thing I have done at this point was bought a new house for my family. Right. So going back through, we looking at all the numbers, and everything was straight. Right. So going into my third year, I said, you want to know what? Going into my third year, I'm going to focus on business. I'm not going to worry about like I ain't gonna go run and check my banking account every week. Every time I deposit check, what's my balance? I said I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna focus on business. I'm gonna focus on marketing and building this business. And that's all I did that third year going into my fourth year. So I never forget my fourth year. I hadn't checked for my balance in maybe like a year and some change. And I made a deposit. I said, hey, let me see my balance. And she sent my balance out through the drive-through window, and I looked and I had some money, and I say, nah, this is hold on. So I drove around to the front of the bank, got out, went in and said, ma'am, can I get a printout for the last 90 days? And
right.
And I went through everything. I was like, I got some money now, but it was just a humbling experience. And I think, and I God perfect. if I'd have started making money like I'm making now at the beginning, I'd have had 100 cars lined out the driveway. I'd have had probably a bunch of jewelry on. At that time, I still was Lawrence from the street at that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's just I just view it different now.
Let me echo what April said earlier. That's just the path that was taken, that you needed to take. Okay, that was your path.
Right.
To get where you are right now, and to teach us. I mean, because you're a role model for me. Okay, and it's to teach us and all of the viewers here that I just wanted to say that, you know, that's the path that was laid out for you.
Right.
God given out of my
and it was
okay.
So necessary.
Yeah. And to me, that implies that you are here for a good purpose. Right. Number one, the testimony. The other is at least, again, the role model. Man, is a role model. A good role model is priceless.
Right.
For our youth today, that's priceless. You can't put money on that.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And I'm grateful. You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful I'm the ass that God rode in on. You know, I always say that. You know, you know, I'm just grateful, man, and it was necessary I think to keep humility in place. You know, as well as you know, God got to be able to trust you as well. Mm-hmm. Like I see a lot of people that get successful and they kind of like forget like about their struggling days, and they forget about, you know, how hard and how tough it was, and they're not willing to share. And I just feel like, you know, I never forget, I read a book by T.D. Jakes, and he said the best way to help people is to tell them about your failures, not your successes. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that. I feel like if I'm telling somebody, I'm at this point right now, but I had to fail, I had to fall on my face, I had to make mistakes, I had to do all this to get here, then I feel like I'm serving true hope. Because mm-hmm. at the end of the day, a person can look then and say, hey, well, you was once where I am now, and you did it, well, I can do it.
Yes.
You know,
people can relate to failures quicker than they can successes. Because everybody fails. Okay, everybody fails. So that's what it's all about right there. And you know, it is amazing. I know this is kind of taking a little spiritual turn, but it's amazing how God redirected your taste for money, and He actually took it away from your palate so that it wasn't the priority anymore. You weren't even concerned with it. You know what I mean? Right. So and that's a wonderful thing, because your mission changed at that point. And so Brandon, that was you know, Lawrence's story as far as what Brother Edward asked, which it was, you know, how much time, and it turned into that. But you know, when you think about what your pivotal moment was, or the transformation for you, you know, what was that like? You know, is your experience similar to Lawrence's, or?
Yeah, because really in prison, just like I said before, I made my change in prison. I was serving 5 years for armed robbery. So I would say, just like Lawrence was saying, when I first got there, I was fighting. I was still in a gang, doing drugs. You can get anything. I had a card table, all that stuff like that. Living the life, living as good as you could live in prison. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you eat and all that stuff like that, and helping the time go by. But I would say about 2.5 years in, because I had made it to honor grade, I could have got out actually earlier than I did, but still smoking and involving myself in the prison life, I got busted back from honor grade. So while I spent my 45 days in the hole is where I said, okay, I'm not smoking anymore, because I can see that drugs is messing with my thinking. Right. So I stopped smoking weed. I stopped smoking cigarettes, and I really started buckling down while I was in prison. So when I got to my next camp, which is Johnson County, I got my GED. That was really the first step in my road to success, is accomplishing getting my GED. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So before then, I really didn't accomplish anything like that. I got kicked out of school. I didn't finish school. I got kicked out of 11th grade for selling drugs. I got into a fight and wound up getting caught with drugs on me. So I couldn't go back to school. And then I was ripping around the street. So me getting my GED on my own and really achieving that started my road to confidence you know what I'm saying, building more confidence. So once I got my GED, I went and got, you know what I'm saying, other stuff. I started taking college courses through the mail, things like that. I really started to make a change in prison. So when I seen that I started distancing myself from certain people. I got out of the gang life and all that stuff like that. Clean myself all the way up and started preparing to be released. So when I got out, I tried to keep that momentum up. You know what I'm saying? I got introduced to a program that I'm on the board of, another program, Step Up Ministries. And I feel like they really saved me as far as helping me transition from prison to where I'm at right now. It's like, I guess what I tell a lot of people is to stay active in as much good stuff that you can.
Right.
Because if you let any negativity come in, that's when you start to dwindle and you going backwards. All right. I always tell myself I'm never going to do anything. I'm not going to go backwards in life. So once I make a decision from here on out, whatever it is, that's what it is. So I always try to make the best decision, the first decision, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't repeat stuff. But I guess just like Lawrence was saying, when I started my businesses, I didn't start off, I wasn't in such of a position like him, but I had a good paying job that I had got through Step Up Ministries. They help people with convicted felons and stuff like that find work. So I got hooked up with them. And a guy that I met there said we were talking about starting a business. So he helped me start my landscaping company. So I was doing that on the weekends. I kind of pretty much bootstrapped my landscaping company. Like I started with borrowed lawnmower, borrowed a truck, borrowed a blower, borrowed everything that you need.
You're trying to
The
make
only thing that I paid for was the flyers, and that was 10 cents a piece at the library down from my house. I would walk and print out the flyers, and then on my way back, I would put them up at the people's houses that I walked by. So that's probably the only thing that I really paid for was the flyers. But I had the will to change. Prison humbled me. Like I was on the side of the road picking up for 70 cents a day. So I can go out here and cut some grass, or, you know what I'm saying? I would have picked up dog poop if I got paid for it. Like it was nothing that I wasn't above doing. I just knew I didn't want to work for nobody else. Not because I had a good job and they were great, but they showed me what a business looks like. And once I started my own, that's what I wanted my business to look like.
Right.
And now my landscaping business was 2012. And then I started my detailing business. This is my primary business. I still do all three, but detailing is my primary business. And now 2020, after grinding, really now, like I'm the head of my household. Like my wife don't gotta work, and I take care of everything. Like I'm starting to reap the benefits of all that work. It's starting to really manifest, and I'm being able to really pour into it. Just like Lawrence said, it starts like it happens for a reason, and it plays out. You go down this road for a reason, and you don't start to really gain success until you're mentally stable to control that success and manage that success the right way. Like just like if I would have started off like he said in the beginning and got all this stuff and just boom successful, I would mess it all up.
That's right.
See, like right now, I'm thinking about investing. I'm thinking about property. I'm thinking about ownership. I'm thinking about stuff that's going to breed generational
wealth versus money.
Wealth versus money. That's the big difference. You can be rich, but you can't be wealthy.
There you go.
So that's what makes
it. Exactly. That's and plus being around people that's above me. I always tell people, you can't learn anything from somebody right here with you because y'all both know the same things.
That's right.
So just like Lawrence, he's above me, and there's a lot of people above me. These are people I get little tidbits from,
Right.
so I can try to catch up to them. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just like if you're in prison, you around a bunch of people that's the same. You can't get no information from them.
Right.
If y'all both at the same level,
Right.
you gotta think and inspire the people over you.
Right.
So that's what I surround myself with, is people that's above me. So I'm talking to the 6-figure guy. I'm gonna be at 6 figures this year. You know what I'm saying? I barely touched it last year, but I'm gonna be at it this year with some profit. I've been saving, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I've been doing because I've been seeing other people that I'm trying to get to do. You know what I'm saying? So once I get there, then I'll be chasing the next person. But that's pretty much I'm doing good now.
Well, you both are doing well now. And, you know, one of the questions that has come up, you've kind of touched upon it, but, you know, did you have mentors or others who supported you as you made your transition back into society? I know you talked about the people you kind of had to cut off along the way so that you wouldn't block blessings. But, you know, were there people who were like, you know, I got your back, you know, and they supported you?
There was actually, he's I wouldn't call him a friend. I would call him my brother. We and it kind of contradicts what I just said about people at the same level, but there was a guy that was in prison with me that really mentored me in a way that no one's ever done before, and helped me to see things a little bit different, and really taught me accountability early while I was in prison. We still connect now. We're like, you know what I'm saying? He was the best man at my wedding. You know, him and his wife came down. He's, I would really say that that's my brother. And then, just like I was saying, Lawrence, all the people like Inmates entrepreneurs, and any other successful entrepreneur that I've crossed paths with have been a mentor. I might not, you know what I'm saying, speak to them daily, but I look from a distance on moves that they make. I can call and ask questions about certain things like that. And I've come to become a person of, I guess, knowledge seeking. Like I read a lot of books now than I didn't do before.
Right.
And just looking at people that I'm trying to reach, you know what I'm saying? So following their footsteps. I know it's not going to be exact, because we have different paths, but the core of what they're doing is going to be the same. So.
And for me, I think I had two situations. I think mine was kind of a reversal. Like I had two situations that I can always remember from in business that pushed me. And I can remember it was one situation where I heard that some guys I used to run with in the street, that they had made a bet at the barbershop that they was going to give me 6 months that I was going to be back selling drugs. They thought it was so funny that I was out here cleaning toilets now, and I used to be out here getting money, right? I used that situation right there, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna show them on that. And then I had another situation. I can remember when I first started going on these walkthroughs with trying to get city contracts, and I would always see these older gentlemen out there, and I always presented myself like I was about business, like I was always in uniform, I always had my shirt tucked in, I always was clean cut, you know. And I would just go into these pre-bid conferences, and I would just sit in there and I would just listen, because I just wanted to learn the language of the business, and I wanted to just soak up as much knowledge as I could. And I would see these older gentlemen; they had been in the business so long, they was on the brink of not only retirement but probably death, because they could barely get around walking around.
Right.
And I would always wonder, like, why wouldn't these older gentlemen take me to the side and just school me on the game? Just give me something. Just give me tidbits of what's going on. I know you see I'm sitting here. You see me all the time. You see I'm putting in bids. You see I'm not winning. You know, why won't you take me to the side? And I always told myself, I say, if I ever get to the position, and we used to call it having the joystick. If I ever get to the point where I got the joystick in my hand, I want to always shell, I want to always serve, I want to always give back to people, because I hated how much it felt on seeing people that could have helped me get from, like, you know, just maybe one little word of encouragement would have took me from not being awarded a contract to, okay, I'm winning them all. You know, and I always took those situations and looked at it and let that be my driving force, and let that be what pushed me. Now, I did have people, like, I've never been like the type person that look at people and be like, oh, I'm just a fan of them. You know, but I always admired like Jay-Z. And one thing I always admired about Jay-Z was he wasn't afraid to be intelligent. Like I would see him going to these board meetings with these record execs, and he would sit there with his legs crossed in his suit and talk his talk, and I'll be like, man, I just get excited to see it. And I look at like from him not being afraid to be intelligent and being a wise businessman and being a good businessman. And he had a time when he had to cut his partner off.
Right.
Because Dame Dash wasn't gonna get him to the next level, so I got to cut you off in order to be a billionaire. And I look at that, and I always been admired by that. I always admired that, and all my friends are like business owners. Like I want to mingle with people just trying to. I got a friend right now. My best friend is a multi-millionaire selling Kirby vacuum cleaners.
Really? Okay.
Kirby,
wow.
Millionaire. And I always sit there and I'm intrigued. I'm always intrigued by people's stories of people who came from nothing. To like greatness. Like I'm always intrigued. I'm always looking at TV shows about stuff. Like I'm always trying to like this. I'm always in admiration of people. Like just started from nothing and like built something, So, I think those are kind of like a combination of my motivational factors on pushing me. I had a little bit of people hating. I had a little bit of like people that I couldn't touch but could just see. And then I had a little bit of people around me that I can just sit here and just hear their story all day. And I'm a person that's like this. If I'm the smartest person in the car, pull over, let me get out.
You're right.
I want to be around iron shop.
Yeah. You can't learn anything that way.
I can't get it like that because I don't know everything. Like even with my company, even with my protocol I have in place, my supervisors up under me, it's plenty of times they make this. It's been times where I done sat there and like, fire everybody. I'm tired of trying to help people. I was going off on my tantrum. And then one of the supervisors sit there and look at me and be like, well, I don't think that'd be a good idea. And I'm like, why? And they'll be like, well, if you fire right now, who's going to replace him, so on and so on? And I'm in my feelings and I'm ready to fire. And I say, you're right. Let's make the best decision for the company. You know what I mean? I don't care that about being, I know I'm the one who signed the checks. I want to do what's best for the company. Let's make sure we all continue to make money. So, it's just, I just feel like, I just feel like that's just where I'm at with that. I feel like at the end of the day, leadership, anybody who get into business should be like really trying to like be the best leader they can be.
Absolutely.
April, if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if they've made a statement already about your location of your businesses.
Okay.
To the viewers, you mind chiming in on that, Brandon and Brother Lawrence?
North Carolina. I go all over North Carolina for Royal Touch Mobile Detailing. I go some in Virginia and some in South Carolina, down where y'all are. My clothing line is just starting off. My local, I'm still local with that, North Carolina. And my landscaping is local, North Carolina.
Right. And I'm based out of Durham, but my cleaning service is based out of Durham. We serve the whole North Carolina. We serve Southern Virginia, Northern South Carolina. I have stuff all in Conway and
Conway. That's where we are. Yes.
I got some, but a lot those contracts like that I do. It's retail. So what I do is I do like regional contracts. So like prime example, like Chipotle. Like we get Chipotle and we'll have like I may have 50 locations all over, and I just group them and sub them out. So anything outside of Durham, I just sub it out with my trucking. I just started a dump truck company like 4 years ago. We're up to 6 dump trucks now, so thank you, Lord. I just been pouring into it already, see some money off of it. But we kind of took a different route. Like our first truck we bought used, we learned a lot from. I got a partner. Actually, my partner is a guy that came home from federal penitentiary, and he worked with me for like 4 years. He came to me one day and he wanted to start his own janitorial company. I was like, man, as loyal as you been to me, I got you. I showed him how to start his own service, gave him contracts, and he do just as good as me now. So he came to me one day and like, hey, let's do dump trucks. I was like, let's go. So we've been doing the dump trucks for like 4 years. I just created a real estate firm. So I really don't talk a lot about it because I'm one of those type of people where I really don't like talking about stuff.
Yes.
Because I believe in the power of your tongue, and I believe in speaking bad things over your life. And I kind of don't put stuff out there to get
you to be in the same boat, Lawrence.
So I do that. Yeah, most definitely. So I got a real estate firm that I'm actually, my mentality done changed to, as you get older and you grow, I feel like you should mature and your mind should change, right? And I'm in the thought process now of I got all this money sitting in the bank, and the only people that make money off of it is the bank. So my whole key is to invest all my money in the bank except for a few couple of $100,000 that I can live off of into real estate. Because at the end of the day, if I can make about $3, $4, $5 million off of some money I got in the street compared to that little $5,000 bank give you at the end of the year, that made better sense to me. So I'm trying to buy everything I can get my hands on the small deals.
I think it says a lot about the fact that, and I think you guys said it early in this broadcast, that you were basically entrepreneurs and you were businessmen, but you were just doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have talked about tonight. It's all about strategy, and but it also goes back to, again, realizing that your path was not the path that you needed to be on, nor that you wanted to be on, and actually making some positive choices that would help you to get to where you are today. And you are both to be commended for what you've done. And of course, we hope that you continue to prosper and grow, and you will, as long as you are poured into other people. And so now I want to get to Inmates to Entrepreneurs and this mission of this program. And I also want to talk about Brian Hamilton Foundation. I've been doing my homework and all this other good stuff. And let me tell you, when I went to the websites and I was looking at the programs that they have, I thought to myself, I don't know why we're just hearing about this. I don't know if anybody, who needs it knows about it, but that's another thing that I hope comes out of this particular broadcast. And I hope that the people who are watching will pass on the messages and tell people to even watch the rebroadcast, because it's very inspirational. But, Inmates to Entrepreneurs, that program, basically the mission is to assist people with criminal backgrounds to start their own businesses. So you guys are living witnesses of, the power of this program, the power of a concept like that. And I understand too that there are some resources that are offered through this program that actually help people like yourself to do the things that you were talking about, getting the education, you're getting the knowledge, you're understanding how to run a business. And I think that's awesome. All of this is kind of tied into the initiatives of the Brian Hamilton Foundation. And, the mission of that foundation is to increase business ownership across the world. And so Jackie, who was helping me to set up this this broadcast today, I sent her a question. I said, now, the initiatives through Brian Hamilton, and I'm talking about that Start You initiative.
Right.
Is that for everybody? Is that for everybody? She was like, yeah, that's for anyone. So
for all.
It's for anyone. And so, what I want you guys to do now is first to talk a little bit more about the actual Inmates to Entrepreneurs program, and then we'll get into Brian Hamilton Foundation as well. And while you're talking, I'm going to pull up both of the websites to show everybody. Okay?
All right. Now, the Brian Hamilton Foundation is a spinoff of, he originally started I2E, Inmates to Entrepreneurship, over 12, 15 years ago. It's been a while ago, before I met Brian. Where he wanted to go into, what he believed in was, he believed that just because people make mistakes in life, they shouldn't box themselves in to just accept whatever society was going to provide for them, which most of the time we know it all. If you go to prison, you get out, you got the box where you got a check on it saying you was a convicted felon. It started changing a whole lot of things for you. So he started going out with a good friend of his that was a pastor at the time. And his friend was going out to the prisons and was talking to these guys about other thought processes toward like providing a life for yourself when you got out. So it urged him to start Inmates to Entrepreneurship. I met him through seeing him on TV, and he had been in one of the prisons in Durham. And I was like, hey, that's what my heart desire is. So I went and sat down with him. Awesome guy, believed in what he had going on, and I just want to be a part of it. So in return, started I2E. We started out going to the prisons, teaching the guys how to start low startup businesses. Businesses similar to like Brandon started. You see how Brandon say he got out and he had a bar, lawnmower, and then he had to go out and spend maybe a couple of dollars on printing out flyers. We want to show you how to start a business with little to zero money at all. So we got out, we started building that through the guys. We started a 5-week course where you can go online now. Well, it's an 8-week course. I'm sorry. We got an 8-week course where we can teach you everything. It's business 101. We teach you from how to start a business to when you start having employees, what do you do, to when you get to the point where you're making all this money and you need an accountant, what you do, and when it's time to pay IRS, what do you do? We teach every single thing that goes along with business. We just started. The COVID did 2 things for us. It kind of challenged it. It challenged us because we used to do these classes in person, and we have been talking as board members. We've been talking, how can we? This is a great program, and we've been in North Carolina, we've been in South Carolina, we're in a couple of states. But how can we get this to the masses? How can we get this to everyone who need this in the United States, Europe, wherever they need to be at? How can we offer this? And we think COVID kind of pushed us in the direction of what we was already thinking of. So we started doing more online classes, but now that we're doing them online, we can cover more people. So right now, we're in the point where we're pushing everything. We're pushing everything that's under the Brian Hamilton Foundation throughout the country through online courses. We actually have a graduation Tuesday, which we have as a guest speaker, Rod Globovich, who is the mayor of Illinois, the ex-governor of Illinois. You guys ever heard of story of him? So he's going to be a guest speaker. I think it'll be great to have him. Well, he's going to be the keynote speaker for the graduation. So after the 8-week course, we do have a graduation. In the past, what we would do was before COVID, we would have we would use caterers and people that came through the course who was promoting their businesses. We would use those guys to get on that first taste of entrepreneurship. So we're doing a great thing. It's so many different things. There's so many different avenues. What we got going on. Brian, he used to own a company called SageWorks, and he sold SageWorks for a ton of money. And he said, Lawrence, all I want to do is entrepreneurship for the rest of my life. I mean, not entrepreneurship, but philanthropy for the rest of my life. I don't care if I use my money. I just want to do this. I just believe in people, and I just want to get this done. That's the heart that Brian has, And we've all got together. We brought a collective minds together to figure out the best way to do it, to help push the vision. It's an awesome program. Like you're showing a lot of it on right now. People can go to the website. They can see the different things. We have youth. We have one for the veterans. We have one for the guys coming out of prison. I hate calling them inmates.
Right.
On incarcerated. So I just call them the guys coming out of prison. So we got a lot going on in inmates entrepreneurship as well as the Brian Hamilton Foundation.
And then there's also the military transition readiness.
Right.
And again, I mentioned the Starter U, which is
for the kids.
And they have one for teens, and the Starter U is teaching you how to start and grow a business. And then you have and that's incredible as well. And then there's the Starter High for teens, which is a free online course teaching teens how to start businesses. That's incredible.
Free. You get everything. You get everything. You'll pay the Gamecocks to go. What's that down there? University of South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yes.
All that stuff that they're gonna teach you in there for free.
For free. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just some amazing things coming out of this this organization.
Brandon?
No, you kind of hit everything, but I really feel the importance of it because I try not to involve myself with nothing I don't believe in. So I've been involved with Inmates Entrepreneurs for a while because I love what they do, and it's helping to get that word out because we really do start from $0 to $500 that you can start a business in,
right.
And with the people that do come in with business ideas that are a little bit more bigger than that, we break it down to where it fits to where, because some people try to start their business off at a 5-year, like they've been in business for 5-10 years already. That's the vision that they have. That's another thing that people that make people not want to start businesses because they think it needs to look like the person that's been in business 20 years.
Right.
Just like if someone that wanted to start a janitorial service and they looked at Lauren's business, how it is right there, and they're thinking that's how they need to start. That's wrong. That's not how you need to start.
And they're also thinking they're going to make money that quickly first year,
Yes,
and that's not
exactly.
the case.
And plus, the less that you put into the business is the faster you get to profit. I tell people that all the time. It's a race to profit. So if you can make it work with as little bit as you can, you're gonna make it to profit much faster. You don't want to. We don't push taking out loans and
Right.
You can't start a business off in debt.
Right.
Yeah, you can't start a business off of debt. Just like Lawrence said, he was at $400. He started his company with, and when he got to his first contract, I know it was more than $400. So he, he surpassed the amount of money that he put in to the business. That's how you want to try to think. You want to make a race to profit. So we teach that and we break it down and make it simple. Like I feel like I've become a little bit more intelligent about businesses and how it operates, but I still break it down so it's low as where my 12-year-old can understand the concept of it. If she can understand the concept of it, someone that's 30, 40 can definitely understand the concept of it. And they can relate to where I've come, where I was at to where I'm at right now. And people take more, they receive information more better when people that they can relate to. That's why me and Lawrence and other convicted felons going back into the prison and say, I used to be at this camp. Like I did a class at a camp that I was at. I'm like, I used to be here. I slept right down the hall at this place. You know what I'm saying? I know this CO. I know that, you know what I'm saying, that shirt. I mean, the sergeant. I know these people. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm at a position that I know I'm never going to come back and see them unless I see them at the gas station. You know what I'm saying? Or somewhere out in the street. I'm never going to be in those walls again because of this. And let me show you how to do it. That's what Inmates Entrepreneur gives me the opportunity to do, and other people, so that we can make sure that we knock down that rate of people going back. You know what I'm saying? So
you change your mindsets is what you're doing, and that's where it starts.
You got to
change your mind.
It doesn't, just like you say, you can take a horse to the pond, but you can't make them drink. So until you help someone turn that light bulb on, it might not turn on the day of the class, but they might think on it. You know what I'm saying? I tell my wife all the time. I tell my children stuff. It might not click right then, but on their journey in life, it's gonna come back up, and then they're gonna understand what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I'm trying to set up my kids like when they graduate school, they don't have to go to college. They can get themselves a house. I've already starting building them credit. There's a lot of stuff that I'm doing right now that I didn't know anything about, but I'm setting them up way better than I was set up. So you won't have no excuse to do nothing crazy. You're gonna be well off. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Brother Errol, you were trying to say something?
It was go back to this word setup. This is a real setup this time. brother who owns it.
Yeah.
So, for Lawrence, I just wanted to say, man, I hope you didn't miss that 800,000 that you used to.
No, man. You got that. The only time I wish I had it back is paying these dump trucks off.
I know that's right. Yeah.
But
all that's part of the schooling, man. Again, man, I just think that you all are just some of the best role models around. I have to say that, you know, and I wish I could see you all the time. I could see, I see you all the time. And you need to be motivational speakers at different places more often than you are now.
It's true. A blessing. It's true. It's true. I'm totally grateful, man. You know, I really. You know, I'm just grateful because, you know, when I think about it, I'm like, no, I had no one to teach me anything. Like I learned everything off of falling and getting up, right? You know, because it's like if I want to create generational wealth for my family moving forward, it's like complete opposite of what I had before me. You know, like I had no one to teach me business. Like I'm the first person in my family ever got a house built. You know, like I'm the person in my family. Like if something happens, everybody looking at me. You know, so it's almost like it's almost like an unwanted pressure that you just inherited just because of your strength, you know, and it's
That's
just
the leadership. That's the leadership.
Right,
Everybody
right,
looking at you.
it's the
That's the leadership.
right. So you
Everybody
know,
looking at you.
so I be looking at it like I don't have no time to like, you know, like for other people. I say, you know, I tell people all the time, I can sit and lay in my bed every single day of the week and still make money. I done built my companies to the point where I can do that. But why? You know, why? Especially when I'm not where I want to be. Like, I think the fear of, you know, I tell people all the time, like, I never want to forget being poor. I'm glad I'm not there, but I don't never want to forget it because I feel like that's what made me don't want to. It made me get up every morning and work hard. It made me get up and keep pushing. The times when I want to lay back and relax, I'm like, nope. Because, you know, yeah, I can't do it. Like, I'm not where I want to be. Like, I want to be like 100 million strong. So, you know, I'm nowhere near that. You know. So,
but you got the mindset to move there. You know, you move in that direction.
You got to stay hungry, man. You got to stay hungry.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been flashing on the screen all these wonderful comments coming from our viewers, and I hope you all were able to see them. But you know, everyone is just expressing how proud they are of you, that you are delivering messages of hope. Sherlyn DeWitt, awesome testimonies, turning it and flipping it for your betterment. Tamika Gore out of Charlotte, North Carolina, this is amazing. Just great messages that hopefully will continue to inspire you all as well. And there's a couple of questions that have come up, and hopefully you're able to answer them. If not, we'll find some answers for them. But one person asked, is bonding still available for former inmates seeking employment? Do you know?
What state are they in? Where are they at?
South Carolina.
So what kind of bonding are they? You talking about bonding? It's different kinds of bonding. So what kind of bonding is there speaking in reference to?
Okay, so Janet, if you can post a comment and clarify your question.
Right.
They may be able to answer it for you. And then there's another question. Is this organization, do they help women?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I believe that, as I said before, and you can visit the website. Let me put it up again so that everybody can see it. It's inmates-to-entrepreneurs.org. And if you go to that website, not only will you connect to this particular program, but you can also connect to the Brian Hamilton Foundation by clicking on anything that says Brian Hamilton, and it'll take you to that particular website as well. But you can see all of the programs, the Starter U, the Starter High, the youth entrepreneurs, the inmates to entrepreneurs, the military transition readiness, and all of that. Very comprehensive websites, and also just some good information. There's even the curriculums that, well, at least the titles that are listed for those free courses that they talked about. And again, I confirm, yes, it's for anyone as far as that part is concerned. But more importantly, if and I know that no one is exempt. I'm sure that every family has everyone. That's right. Every family has at least knows at least one person who is incarcerated at this point. And if you want to impart in them some hope for the future, let them know. Go ahead and start, just like Brandon said, while you are in there. Go ahead and start reading. Go ahead and start thinking about what you're going to do once you cross the gate. You're off the yard. What are you going to do when you get back to your community, so that you can make sure not to go back to where you were, and you can get back to being the man you need to be, or the woman you need to be for your family. And it all starts with self. It really does. And just making a intentional choice to just do better, and also to gain that knowledge that Brandon talks about and that Lawrence talks about, so that you can turn that business mind into something that's more productive and that's healthier for you and for your family. So I go ahead.
And I was going to say, for those who are interested in taking the online course, just be on the lookout, because what we realized, this is our first time doing it to such a vast audience. And what we learn as we go. And some of the things we learned was, people in different time zones, they're in different areas. So we have it starting at a particular time and it's ending at a particular time. So people in California so what we're doing is we're starting to break it off into regions. So we'll start doing it the same way we do the course. Like we'll do the course for Charlotte. We do it for the different cities. We're taking that same model and doing it on a larger scale, and we're doing it for different for the different areas in the country. Like we'll do we'll do one for the Southeast. We'll do one for the Midwest. We'll do one for the mountain region. We're just going to break them down so everyone will have the availability to be able to take this course. So just be on the lookout for those dates so you know when it's coming to you. And please take advantage of it. You're getting, like I said, you're getting business one-on-one for free.
I said, sure.
and that's not cheap, okay? That's not cheap otherwise. All right.
No, time is expensive.
Right.
It is.
Hey, yeah, you go.
That's right. And you get it from experienced people. You get it from people who, it's a difference of, like, I hate to be kind of like judgmental, but if I want to learn about farming, I'm not going to talk to a computer tech. I want to a guy that has put some plants in the ground. You understand what I'm saying? So, so you're getting it from people with experience who
absolutely.
I don't know everything, and Brandon don't know everything, but guess what? We'll try to connect you to the people who do.
Absolutely.
This is a critical time for voting, April, coming up, and I don't know how you brothers play into that, but I would implore that if you could use whatever your skills are. Right. To make sure that voting is at its capacity and coming up in November. Everybody would appreciate that. You have great influence. Okay, you're good role models. Right. I don't see why you can't be a venue for getting the word out and making sure that their vote is being counted.
Your vote count, and I tell people all the time, don't go whining.
That's right.
I don't want to hear no mouth about
it. Loud enough for the people in the back, Lawrence. Like somebody.
If you don't go out and vote, that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people that all the time. I'm like, hey, go out and make your voice heard. It's not in vain. At least have the confidence knowing that you went out and made your voice heard, even if you don't get the results that you wanted.
Yeah.
So
that's very good. Man. April, I know you don't. We're probably approaching time in here, but I just want to put in a plug for our program this Monday coming. Most of you have heard of when you have a food desert in a community. I'm sure you've been in view of that. You're right. Right. So we're gonna have a good representative of somebody who's really doing some fantastic things about that coming up on Monday. Dr. Cheryl Adamson. She has some good information on how we can deal with the food, quote unquote, food desert that exists in Conway, certain areas in Conway. I'm sure it probably in your areas also in North Carolina.
Yeah, is it similar to the food bank, like how the food similar?
Well,
to that?
Well, when I say desert, it's for lack of grocery stores.
Right. So it's helping serve
about it. Okay, yeah. So we want to deal with that. So we're gonna have someone who can really give us some insight on what she is doing and what and what we think other organizations are doing. But she seemed to be spearheading some good motives right now to deal with that.
Wow.
April, and if you all can chime in, we'd love to have everybody view that, and we're on at 7 p.m. this Monday.
And that's the Whittemore Community Magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just send us the link.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. And the food desert situation is very critical. I mean, people don't realize how close we are to not having enough food to feed.
You're right. It's tough out here. Yeah.
It's tough. Watch the prices on things.
Right. The kind of food that you guys can afford. I mean, now that you've gotten.
Hey.
Oh no! I still.
I remember days like I can't wait to have some money again to go in there and eat.
We're talking about that kind of food, man. That you can afford now. But look. I'm so proud to see that you can afford it, man. Okay. I really am.
I was so tired. Look, I was so tired of eating chicken livers and cubes.
Chicken livers. As a part of our culture, we've learned how to dine on less and make a big meal out of less. That's ingrained That's in our blood. So we cook everything from the rooter to the tutor, and you know that.
Brother, that's Sugar Hill talk, man.
That's Black culture.
My daughter's mom say it's some stuff she don't even eat because she was so tired of eating what we eat.
Exactly.
I'm so tired of eating it.
You look in the cabinet, you wonder, what are we going to eat tonight? You turn around and mom has a bunch of food on the table. Don't know where she got it from or what, but you know what? Made it happen. Little or nothing. Made it happen. We're very fortunate people and very strong. And obviously, we have the fortitude to make it. And so that fortitude comes from having wonderful resources like what you two are a part of. And I just want to say to you, brothers, I wish you all the best. If there's ever anything the Network Live, or even I can speak on behalf of Brother Edward, the Whittemore Community Magazine could do to help you push your cause or your initiatives, you just reach out. Y'all know how to get me. And and it happen. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to go ahead and thank with all of my heart Lawrence Carpenter, Chairman of the Board for Inmates to Entrepreneurs. He's also founder of Super Clean Professional Janitorial Service and BS Trucking. I'm telling you. And then Brandon Lowery, Director of Inmates to Entrepreneurs. He's the founder of BLLC Landscaping and Royal Touch Mobile Detailing, and more to come because I know he said he has some things in the works. But,
he owns it. He owns it.
Yeah, he owns it. That's right. He owns it. And I being here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And again, this broadcast will be available for rebroadcast. It is on YouTube, so we can send you links whenever it's done, and you can always find it on our Facebook pages. And I think I posted it to Twitter. I posted it to IG. I was trying to get the word out. And again, thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, and God bless always.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in today. Of course, Dr. Matt gave us our COVID-19 update. Week 25. Yes, Tamika Gore, week 25 of COVID-19 updates and our medical minute on prostate cancer. And we will continue to do just that every single Friday at 4 p.m. as we've been saying for the past 25 weeks, if God's willing and the creek don't rise. But I don't know, Conway, last night we got some rain real fast. My entire front yard was flooded. I thought it was going to come to my house. So the creek is rising. Oh, yeah. But, I know we're going to be okay. Yeah. But, hopefully everyone will remain safe this weekend, and we'll tune in to the next broadcast. And also don't forget Whittemore Community Magazine, Mondays at 7 p.m. Brother Edward is your host of that show, and I co-host that show. So I sit sidecar on that show. And this weekend, I do want to plug this. This weekend, Friendship Missionary Baptist Church is having the virtual voter registration party. DJ Skills, and you guys know DJ Skills, right?
That's my friend. That's my buddy. That's my guy. That's my guy right there.
That's in this area.
Yeah, he is from South Carolina. That's my guy.
Moved it in this area, and he and Ashley Simmons, who is with 98.5. Will be hosting this virtual registration party, and the church is throwing it, and he's playing the cookout music, as he says.
Okay.
But we will have a voter registration drive, and you can come to the church, pick up a voter registration form, fill it out at the church, and there will be representatives from the church who will get it to the voter registration office in time to meet that September 30th deadline. But we will be on live. So it's going to be live on Facebook. You can tune in, listen to DJ Skills. He's going to be playing, and Ashley and Reverend Charles Milton P., who's our pastor, will be talking about the importance of voting and why everyone needs to be involved in not only voting, but also the census. Yeah, so thank you everyone again for tuning in. And Brother Edward, thank you for being my co-host today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That was great, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm lucky to happen to have a conversation with these role models here.
No, we're grateful. We totally grateful over here on this side. Yeah. Like I tell people all the time, it's a blessing. Anybody want to hear anything I got to say.
I know that's right. I know that is right. Absolutely.
One day I'm going to be able to get me a hat like that, brother. I own it.
I need one too, man.
You know what I'm saying? I can ship one out to you. Send me out.
I gotta take you up on that.
Coming up, so I'm gonna need that hat right there. So yeah, and My cousin Cassandra Campbell, thank you for tuning in. She's out of Greenville, North Carolina. I really appreciate you watching every single week. So anyway, yeah, Chestnut. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So thank you all. I appreciate it. And God bless.
Thank you. Have a good
All
night.
right. Okay, you too.
All right.